The story begins in the city of London, where we see a boy named Quinn who is going to meet his mother at the nearby subway station. Construction work was going on there, and his mother, Karen, was the supervisor of the workers. Quinn and his mother were talking when a worker suddenly came to inform them that there was a problem below. During drilling, they had found a huge pit that no one had any idea existed before. Excited, Quinn went down into that pit to see what was actually there. As he reached that mysterious cave, suddenly flames started erupting from the floor. Seeing this, Quinn was shocked, but then suddenly the walls of the cave began to shake. Quinn realized that there was actually a very giant creature. The next moment, that creature suddenly spat on Quinn's face, after which Quinn quickly ran out of that cave to tell his mother about the creature. Karen became very scared as soon as she saw Quinn's face and immediately took him to get his mouth washed. In her worry for Quinn, she didn't pay any attention to what he was trying to explain. All the workers also understood that there was something very strange in that cave. Suddenly, the entire structure of the subway station began to shake, and that giant creature spewed terrifying fire into the tunnel from its mouth. Karen quickly wanted to take Quinn out of there, while Quinn was still trying to explain that he had seen a strange, giant creature in the cave. Soon, they all saw proof of it with their own eyes in the form of a huge dragon that started shaking the elevator structure violently. This caused a deep injury to Karen's head, and she died on the spot. This was just one of the many dragons that came out of that mysterious cave, and soon they took over the entire planet. About 18 years later, humanity was on the brink of extinction, and the dragons too were dying of hunger due to lack of food. Now we see a young Queen at the border of Scotland in a ruined castle with some people. These people considered Quinn their leader and respected him greatly. But surviving in this dragon-infested world was extremely difficult, and a shortage of food was forcing people to rebel. At that time, a man living in the castle gathered some people to harvest their grown crops because there was a severe food shortage. As soon as Quinn found out about this, he stopped him and said that the crops were not fully ready yet, and they needed to wait a bit longer. Otherwise, there would be even less food in the future. That man, named Eddie, argued that if they didn't eat today, there wouldn't be any future left. He also said that the other survivor groups they were communicating with had gone silent 2 days ago. Perhaps the dragons had killed them. Quinn stood firm on his decision and did not give them permission to leave. He also confiscated all the vehicle keys. Anger was rising on both sides when Quinn's best friend, Creedy, arrived. At that moment, Eddie was saying, "Is this castle a prison or what?" To this, Creedy said that anyone who wanted to leave was free to go, even if this decision put everyone else in trouble. But he also reminded them that whoever left could never come back. This managed to control the situation for the moment, and Eddie didn't leave. After this, we see Quinn and Creedy performing a play for the children of the castle to entertain them a bit. Before sleeping, Quinn made all the children do a prayer, not to any god, but a series of questions and answers about what to do and what not to do when they saw a dragon. That night, Eddie stole the car keys and woke up his friend Michael, telling his wife not to tell anyone. Soon, some more people joined them, and they quietly drove out of the gate in the stolen vehicles. A few moments later, Quinn woke up to the sound of the wind and saw a small child named Liam sitting scared in the hall. The child asked Quinn if that sound was from a dragon, and Quinn counted down by saying it was just the wind. Quinn kept Liam in his room until his fear disappeared. Meanwhile, Barney woke up startled by the noise of birds. Out there, Eddie and his friends had already started picking and eating tomatoes. Suddenly, Barney saw something strange in the sky and sounded the alarm to wake everyone up and make them alert. Startled by the alarm, Michael's wife decided to tell Quinn the whole truth. In the fields, seeing the dragon spewing fire and killing people, Eddie became very scared and tried to save his family. Soon, his wife Rachel met him, but unfortunately, their son didn't survive this chaos. Eddie saw that Michael's face had been burned. In the attempt to escape from there, their companion Nat also died. They were all terrified as the dragon attacked again, spreading fire and panic everywhere. Eddie's family was surrounded by fire in the middle of the fields when, luckily, Quinn and Creedy changed their mind about not helping Eddie and came to rescue them. Don was given the responsibility of operating the automatic weapon mounted on the vehicle, and when the dragon blocked their path and spewed fire, poor Don lost his life. When they returned to the castle, Quinn decided not to fight with Eddie because he had just lost his son. But the situation was now much worse because this incident had destroyed all the crops. The next day, a man named Ajay in the castle heard some voices on the radio and alerted Barlow. Barlow sounded the alarm after seeing many tanks heading toward the castle. Every person in the castle was given a weapon for safety, and Barlow calculated that their ammunition was almost finished. Creedy believed that perhaps these people outside didn't want to attack, and that they should be happy there were other survivors out there. But as soon as the vehicle stopped, Creedy took back his words. These people had come from America, and their leader was Van Zon. Van Zon explained that he had rebuilt an airplane to reach here, although the landing wasn't smooth, and they had lost around 100 men. For now, they just wanted to spend the night there. Quinn did give them shelter, but he couldn't quite believe Van Zon's story about the airplane because flying a plane in a world ruled by dragons seemed impossible. Van Zon dismissed Quinn's doubts and said that he knew the dragon's weakness. Their vision weakens in the evening, and dragons can be killed at that time. As proof, he showed Quinn a dragon's tooth, which he considered his victory trophy. Seeing this, Quinn was impressed and ordered the vehicles to be brought inside. Creedy became restless at Quinn's decision and laughed at Van Zon's dragon-killing story because the last time anyone had killed a dragon was 18 years ago, and that too by the army when the army still existed. But Creedy's laughter stopped when Van Zon's helicopter sliced through the air and arrived there. Van Zon introduced them to a female pilot named Alex. Alex called her team Archangels because they would jump out of helicopters without parachutes to distract the dragons. Creedy still found all this childish and even laughed at the idea of trapping a dragon in a net, but Alex did not like his attitude. Queen told Creedy that they needed to be alert because they couldn't fully trust these newcomers yet. That night, Alex and Queen were talking to each other in the kitchen. During their conversation, Alex asked Queen about the boy who was always with him. "Is he your son?" Queen told her that the boy's name was Jared and that he had been with Queen since he was 3 years old. Queen and Creedy were leaving a shelter when they found Jared trying to wake his dead mother for days. Queen couldn't leave him alone and took him in. Alex told Queen that he was very kind because if it had been any other man in his place, he wouldn't have bothered with someone else's child. Queen took the opportunity to ask Alex why the American soldiers had crossed the entire ocean to come to the UK. Alex didn't fall for his bait and replied that this question was better directed at Commander Van Zon himself. At that moment, the bar again declared an emergency and the alarm started blaring. Vin felt embarrassed because his security system looked so weak in front of the American soldiers' discipline and capability. With the alarm blaring, helicopters took flight, trucks rolled out onto the roads, and 3 men on motorcycles advanced, forming a triangular formation around the target. Today was Alvarez's turn to become an Archangel, meaning he would jump from the helicopter without a parachute to distract the dragon. The dragon suddenly came up behind the helicopter. Vaughn was worried because the third point of the triangle hadn't been set yet. Queen, watching through his binoculars, saw the dragon flying over the castle and the motorcyclist climbing the hill. Listening to the conversation between Van Zon and the soldiers on the radio, Ajay realized that the third motorcyclist had already lost his life. As soon as he found this out, Queen rushed off on his horse towards the third motorcyclist to help complete the triangle. Without the third motorcyclist, it was impossible to locate the dragon, and without knowing its exact location, everyone in the helicopter would be in grave danger. Queen rode up the hill, found the fallen motorcycle, and updated the third signal's location. As soon as the triangle was complete and the dragon's location was revealed, Alex saw that the dragon was right behind the helicopter and immediately attacked it. Alvarez jumped out of the helicopter without saying a word, and his 2 companions followed. Alex was guiding them on the radio, and the dragon also went after Alvarez, who looked like a human missile. Gideon and Jefferson attacked the dragon with a net from right behind it, but the dragon soon freed itself from the net. Because the clouds were very thick, they couldn't see anything, and Alvarez only saw the dragon when it was very close to him. The dragon burned Alvarez to ashes with its powerful fire. Alex also saw on the radar how Alvarez was smashed to pieces on the ground. Up on the hill, Queen contacted Van Zon through the motorcyclist's radio, and now it was time for Plan B. According to this plan, Queen would lure the dragon towards himself. He began running at full speed. Now it was up to Van Zon to keep him alive. As soon as the horse came down from the hill, Van Zon launched a missile directly at his direction. At the last moment, Queen changed his path, and the missile struck the dragon that was right behind him. Before crashing in the castle courtyard, the dragon unleashed one final burst of fire. Standing near the dragon's jaws, Van Zon pulled out one of its teeth as a keepsake. That night, the castle was filled with joy and everyone was celebrating. But then Van Zon arrived with tearful eyes and said that this was no time for celebration. 3 soldiers had lost their lives to kill 1 dragon. Queen fully agreed with him and participated in the funeral of those 3 soldiers. He told Van Zon, "This is my home. I have buried many of my companions here. If I have given you permission to stay here, then I at least have the right to know what you're here for." Finally, Van Zon decided to tell him the truth. He revealed that he had killed 200 dragons so far, but upon investigating, they found out that all of them were female dragons. From their research, they learned that there was only 1 male dragon who had fathered all the offspring of these females. If they could kill this 1 male dragon, the dragons would slowly go extinct on their own. After conducting scientific research on these dragons, they found out that this male dragon was in London. That's why Van Zon had crossed the entire ocean with his army to come here. Hearing about London, Queen refused to be part of this mission because anyone who went to London would be followed back by more dragons, putting everyone in the castle in danger. This disagreement led to an argument between the two, and Van Zon left. Alone with Queen, Alex asked if there was any other reason why he wouldn't go to London. Queen told her that the dragon who had killed his mother was this same male dragon. It was much bigger than the other dragons. At that moment, Ajay came and informed them that Van Zon was gathering people in the castle and getting a speech, and a few people were already prepared to leave with him for London. Queen, in anger, ran to the hall and punched von Zahn. In an instant, a full-blown fistfight broke out between the two of them. Von Zahn, filled with rage, began beating Queen brutally until the other American soldiers stepped in to stop him. Alex felt sorry for Queen and gave him a bottle of medicine to apply on his wounds. Von Zahn, meanwhile, continued preparing to take more people with him. Even Jared, quietly, was ready to sneak away with the Americans. The Queen saw him and tried to stop him, saying that he would make Jared the head of the castle, just like he always wanted. But Jared said that now he wanted to become an archangel. Bonzen took his army along with several people from the castle and went out to fight the male dragon. Meanwhile, the Queen went to the fields to gather the remaining crops, and a little while later, Jared arrived there too. He had decided not to go with the Americans. In those fields, there was a terrible stench from the dead dragons. The Queen said that this same stench keeps the dragons away. At night, the Queen went to the dead dragon to check if it was male or female. When he saw that it was indeed a female dragon, he began to believe Bonzen's words. When Bonzen's army reached London, they found debris scattered for thousands of kilometers. The entire city was filled with corpses, and everyone was terrified at the sight. Just then, they saw flames coming from the darkness. Bonzen gave the order that there was no time to measure or decide anything. They had to attack directly. Reluctantly, everyone prepared to attack. Soon evening turned into night, and now the dragons could see perfectly in the dark, while the people could barely see anything. Humans could only shoot blindly into the darkness. Within seconds, the massive male dragon arrived and burned the entire convoy to ashes. Alex was deeply worried, wondering why no one was responding on the radio, while Ajay had heard their calls and understood that something was seriously wrong. When Alex reached the accident site, she saw that only Bonzen and a few others had survived in very bad shape. Bonzen said that it was that same male dragon who had attacked them, and he was so big that he burned everyone to death in a single strike and didn't need to come back again. Bonzen remembered what the Queen had said and realized that now the castle was in danger. The Queen was still outside the castle when the male dragon arrived and began wreaking havoc everywhere. People ran in all directions, and by the time the Queen made it inside, the entire castle was in flames. He saw that the dragon was directly above the castle. The Queen waited for the dragon to leave and then frantically began calling out for his people. Jared arrived there and tried to put out the fire with a fire extinguisher. Soon, Preeti also joined them, and together they began taking the children down to the basement. Once in the basement, the Queen decided to go back to bring the rest of the people, but Preeti chose to go up instead. Just then, the dragon attacked again, and the two friends didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. Preeti sacrificed his life to save the others. The basement door shut tight, and now the Queen was filled with despair. He wanted to go back up to somehow save his friend, but deep down, he knew there was nothing he could do. And besides, he had to think of the children. A few hours later, Alex and Bonzen arrived and brought everyone out of the basement. Bonzen admitted that the Queen was right, and that because of him, people died there and here too. But that didn't mean Bonzen was ready to give up. Bonzen was startled to hear that now the Queen wanted to fight. The Queen had decided that it was finally time to have a showdown with this demon. How long would they keep living in fear like this? He made Jared the in charge of the castle and then shared his plan with Bonzen and Alex. The three of them flew by helicopter along the river and reached the center of London by evening. The city was completely destroyed and now ruled by the dragon. Alex believed that going further meant certain death, but the Queen said he was born and raised in London and knew the underground tunnels very well. This would make it easier for them to advance. Suddenly, many dragons began flying around in a frenzy. The three of them couldn't understand why, because the dragons hadn't seen them or attacked them. Then they saw the male dragon in the sky, devouring a female dragon. The male dragon was now so hungry that he had started feeding on his own kind. Seeing this, all the female dragons fled far away, giving the three of them a good chance to move forward. They made their way through the city's tunnels and reached the same subway station where the Queen's mother, Karen, had died. The plan was to lure the male dragon there and attack it with explosive arrows. As the Queen started to climb the elevator, memories of his mother's death at that very place flooded his mind. Sensing his distress, Bonzen encouraged him, telling him to turn his sorrow into strength and use this anger to burn the dragon to ashes. Soon, the Queen climbed up with full determination. Bonzen advised the three of them to split up in different directions and be ready in their positions when the dragon arrived. Just then, the Queen realized he had lost his arrows. Alex was extremely scared. She was used to fighting enemies from the heights of the sky, but now, being alone on the ground, she was very anxious. Bonzen gave her orders from the top of the tower, telling her to stick to the plan and keep moving. Alex fought her fear and began distracting the dragon by running, and soon the dragon was following her. As Bonzen fired his arrow, the dragon turned towards him at the last moment and neutralized the arrow with its fire. Seeing the dragon coming towards him, Bonzen didn't flinch and leapt at it like a warrior. But this time, the dragon swallowed him whole. After Bonzen's death, Alex and the Queen abandoned the plan to split up and came together. The dragon had been slightly injured, but soon forgot everything and went back to hunting them down. Just then, Alex spotted the lost arrow. The queen ran towards her, getting ready to take the shot. Time was running out, so Alex distracted the dragon by firing bullets at it. As soon as the queen loaded the arrow, he faced the dragon, finally getting the chance to avenge his mother's death. The moment the dragon opened its mouth, the queen fired the arrow, and it struck hard, causing the dragon to explode. In this way, the queen avenged his mother's death and saved humanity from complete annihilation. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.